Hello Ice and Fire Nerds, this is Chris and welcome back to another Game of Thrones Season 7 video, and today I wanted to do a quick little video and talk about the fucking wall. As we've all seen by now with the opening credits of Season 7, it looks to me like the Night King may have another way to get down to the Seven Kingdoms. Will the Night King simply walk around the damn wall? Alright, so if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you've seen now in episodes 1 and 2 in the opening credit scenes where we go into the wall and zooms in, and as it zooms back out, you can see that on the right hand side where Eastwatch by the Sea is near the Bay of Seals, it looks to be the entire sea is now frozen all the way over to the island of Skagos. And if you take into consideration the first scene in episode 1 where we saw the White Walkers and the Army of the Dead marching south, it looks to be like they possibly could be on frozen water. And if you take into account as well the Hound's vision in episode 1, which I did a completely separate video on, there was a missing line of dialogue there that could have given this away, and you're welcome to click the little card popping out right now in the top right hand corner of your screen, and you can check out that video to see what the hell I'm talking about. So of course, with all this put together, a lot of people are now speculating that the White Walkers are simply going to walk around the wall. And I gotta say, I'm really conflicted about this. The evidence seems to be there. They seem to remove that line from the Hound's vision that I talked about in the Hound's vision video for a reason to possibly hide something, or at least not to make it so obvious. But the point being here that it would be odd to me for 8,000 years the wall has stood, it's guarded the realms of men apparently, but the whole damn time you're telling me that fucking wall was useless? That the Night King could have just simply marched around it at any time he chose? And I know a lot of people will say, well, maybe they're waiting on a winter harsh enough to freeze the actual water to go around the wall, but you can't tell me that in 8,000 years, even if that history is off and it's more like 4,000 years, you can't tell me there hasn't been a winter harsh enough to possibly freeze the edge of the ocean to give him a path around the damn wall. James and I actually mentioned in A Dragon Raised by Wolves that the Night King seemed to have a problem with salt water. We saw at Hardhome where he did not chase Jon and the wildlings out into the sea, and of course he did his little come at me crow stance and had to stare down with Jon where he raised the dead right in front of him. So the question is, could he have frozen that water and chased him and killed them all, or did he just want to send some type of message, which made no sense to me because he tried to kill him in the first place. So the point being here that they can just march around the wall, that completely undermines the entire wall, the entire Night's Watch for 8,000 years. It's all not meant a damn thing if that's the case. The entire realm was living under a false sense of security. Essentially that would mean that the Night's Watch was all there for 8,000 years serving for absolutely nothing, when the Night King and his army could have simply walked around the wall anytime they wanted. Now, of course, the question is, can he make it cold enough to freeze water? We do know that he has to seemingly wait on winter to return, but of course he actually makes it colder as he comes. He literally brings a storm. But what makes this winter special? A lot of people would say, well, you had a long summer about 10 years, so after a long summer you would have a harsher winter, and I do agree with that. But you can't tell me that in 8,000 years, or whatever the actual time may be, that there has not been a winter harsh enough to freeze the damn oceans for him to walk around. So of course that leaves the question, why now? I still think this kind of fits the idea that we had as far as them reacting to something fairly recent in our story, such as the birth of Jon Snow, or the birth of Dany, or the birth of both for that matter. Whatever they're reacting to, they seem to be waiting to come back now. But it seems to me thematically it would undermine the whole damn series as far as the wall, the Night's Watch, and all that. Like none of that ever actually mattered, when he could have just came back anytime he pleased, assuming it was cold enough or he could make it cold enough to actually freeze the damn ocean. But then again, I can't discount this theory that they may just walk around the wall, because there does seem to be quite a few things pointing in that direction when you take into account the Hound's vision, the missing line from that vision that I talked about in the previous video, and of course the opening credits where you do see the obvious change where the Bay of Seals is actually frozen. Are they going to simply bypass the wall and walk around it? And if that's the case, do we even need to see the wall fall down at the end of Season 7 like we all suspect, like they've been foreshadowing for so damn long? It wouldn't make sense whatsoever to me if they just walk around the wall and they don't have to actually knock it down or break the magic in some way. And of course that undermines the whole entire story as far as the 8,000 year history of the Night's Watch, the wall, and keeping the others out in the first place. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. As usual, thank you for all the support, especially to you guys on Patreon. And a huge shout out to my executive Patreon Smokescreen producers, Hoss Griffin, Volgot 10, Lala Gig, Kisa Powell, Mark Joseph aka The Snow in Winterfell, Marilyn Bentley, Joanna, Sean Hayes, Anonymous, Doc Holliday, Gaska, Hunjive, Kieran D20, Nikki Snow, Lo Horton, Aaron Hadbig, Ashley May, Brian Solars, Dean Bewell, Carla Stark, and John Kerry. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the support. And to everybody out there in YouTube land, I really appreciate it. And also be sure to join us on Sundays for our live streams at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time every damn week after every episode. Really enjoy having all you guys there. And as usual, be sure to subscribe to get everything, and be sure to click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new damn video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.